Nancy Guthrie and her entire family. We don't know what happened to her. This is obviously an abduction. This is not a kidnapping, as the sheriff said up front immediately. And you're now getting a department that could have provided you with top-notch service if the men and women were treated the right way by the upper echelon, by the rank and file. Whereas here in this situation, Sheriff Nanos is not only affecting the rank and file and his members of his department, but he's affecting the people who he serves. And that's a crazy thing. How much did he lose by? 480 votes? I mean, win by?
481 votes, yeah. And you're absolutely right. It's a curious way to run an agency. When your employees are in a position that they enjoy being in, and you guys know, cops always have different interests. Some guys like search and rescue, some guys like DUIs, some guys want to be detectives. And so when people are allowed to go into areas that they're interested in, you get free work out of them because they're passionate about what they do. If you arbitrarily, for no good reason, stick them in other areas, it demoralizes them. They're not working as hard. They're not as happy. It's just bad business. If you took over a McDonald's and some guy loves making fries, why make him go sweep floors? Now your fries suck and you have a disgruntled employee. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not the way to run an agency. And the most heartbreaking part is that he took over an agency from Clarence Stupnick, who was around for 40 years, 35 years, something like that. Regardless of what you think of Sheriff Dubnik, he put together a fantastic police department. This agency was great. Our former SWAT commander is now the head of NTOA. Guys will come here to learn from our SWAT team. We had a great agency, and it was treated like a family, and everybody loved being here. You didn't get paid the most, but that's why no one left. Pay was an afterthought for most people. Everybody
it always is.
Yeah. You enjoyed coming to work. You enjoyed catching bad guys, and it was great. And the sheriff's department had a fantastic reputation. We were beloved by our citizens and feared by the bad guys. Is what it was. I grew up around here. I went to high school in Tucson, and everybody knew that you did not mess around with the sheriff's department. They were tough but respectful. And it was all fun and games till the guys in tan showed up, and then you'd better listen. It was yes sirs and no sirs.
Another quick question I wanted to ask you. The sheriff made a decision to send the DNA out to that contracted lab down in Florida. Now, I don't know how long that standing contract is for that lab, but it just seems so counterproductive in my eyes as an investigator. If you have, as the sheriff said, the FBI came and offered their help to him. Usually we have to ask for it. I don't know how all of a sudden the FBI was calling, asking the sheriff, hey, do you want us to come and help you with this case? But he chose to send the DNA because he wanted uniform. As he said, he wanted it to be uniform, everything to go down to Florida. What was your thoughts on that, of him deciding to do that early on, not using Quantico?
It was curious. I mean, I'm not a DNA expert, and I won't pretend to be one on TV here, but the curious thing also is the price tag that came with it. From what I read, a report that it was a couple $100,000 for DNA testing when the feds are offering to do it in their labs. Why not just from a taxpayer perspective say, yeah, absolutely, take it. I spoke with a detective, and they had told me that I guess this lab in Florida is a good lab, and they're waiving certain things like priority, I think the priority mail, he said, and possibly the weekends that they're working on this. Usually those incur extra fees, and those they're waiving. But the rest of it is being footed by the Pima County taxpayer. And this is Pima County. This is not a rich county. So it was an odd choice.
Anything that you can add to what's going on currently in this investigation? We talked about the family taking over the property and going back. Is there anything that you might be able to bring to light for some of the listeners that, are not getting information?
Sure. So I can break a little news on your program here that I spoke with a detective earlier today, and effective Monday, this investigation will essentially be moved to the task force entirely. We will be sending, I believe, 4 detectives and a sergeant to the task force, the FBI, here in Tucson. And then the rest of the detectives have been ordered to essentially finish up whatever tasks that they were assigned related to the case, and then we'll be moving back to a business as mostly usual posture, and it will be essentially fielded on from here on out by that task force.
So four detectives, one sergeant, and then the rest are FBI agents, and then that's it.
I believe so.
LT, your thoughts?
Well, given their manpower, I mean, it's the ratio is about what they can afford right now. They still have a lot of, you can't leave the house empty. You need to have people over there to do investigations and everything. I'm sure if something in this capacity, I think if something arises, they can redirect resources over there and help them out. But the investigative end of this should be with the FBI right now, in conjunction with those 4 detectives and the sergeant. I think it's a good move. We've done it before. I think the biggest thing was, as the sergeant just said, I didn't realize the price tag on these things, but the FBI offered it. The only thing I was saying, why would you bypass the CODIS going right into CODIS at that time? Because sometimes you only get one shot at the DNA, and you want to put the best shot forward with this thing, and that didn't happen here. And I don't know whether it was you're contracted to do something. I don't think the contract says when somebody's life is on the line that you can't utilize another resource.
Yeah, and especially if the resource is a federal resource that's not going to be billing you.
Their investigation at the house is pretty much wrapped up, and I think the team of people that were out there yesterday, I believe, it was kind of a one last look, maybe for prosecutors and a legal team to just kind of see it with their own eyes before ultimately turning this over to the family. So I think between the FBI and our department, we've probably determined that there's nothing else of value at the house, so it's time to turn it back over. I wish for our department's reputation that we had held that scene secure for much longer. It'd be nice that we were just turning it over now for the first time to the family, but it's too late now.
But I'm hoping that your detectives and the FBI, like you said, went through that house and said, listen, we've exhausted all means in here. We got every print imaginable. They have the car, they have everything that they need is away from there, and they can process it in the way they have to process it. In the meantime, you go back to square one of the investigation and reinvestigate it from a different angle with the FBI, calling the shots on certain things and suggesting to your detectives, let's try this. Listen, you cannot get tunnel vision on these cases. You have to look all different ways on a case like this.
A lot of people were up in arms about the sheriff saying that the whole entire family was cleared at one point.
Yeah.
People were going nuts about that. And I'm sure that none of the detectives in the homicide squad would say at any point in an investigation like this that we have everybody completely cleared. They're like, he gave like such a, it almost seemed like a personal plea that he made, like, leave this family alone. It was almost like he was defending them. And I've never seen anything quite like that. Joe, I said it to you, and now I'll say it to you, Sergeant. In all the time that I've been in the business, active and retired, it's now 35 years, I've never seen an executive go on national television and try to, it almost seemed like he was protecting the family. It was just very odd.
Yeah, it seemed emotional based, not fact based. And I think the day before he said no one had been cleared. And then I think the following day or the days following after he said they were cleared, then he walked it back somehow. It's just, it undermines the confidence that the public has in our agency and our abilities. It wasn't helpful, I don't think. I can't explain his reasoning except it did seem emotionally based.
It's funny you say that because I was asked about that specifically on one of the TV shows, and they asked. I said, "Listen, everybody gets emotional. You have, this is a community where you're one-on-one with the people. Sometimes, I can understand that." And I gave him credit to that degree, but to turn around and say what he said, why would you clear? Why didn't you say, "Listen, we've investigated this part of it. It's an ongoing investigation. Nothing is off the table." Nothing. To say somebody's cleared is a defense attorney's dream come true, because at one point that's going to come up, but then you're going to get a good detective or a good detective supervisor and somebody from the FBI going, yeah, he misspoke, but we could point to this evidence and this is how we're going to put this together.